Welcome to episode, I believe, 38 of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show.
That's right.
How are you, Cousin Donnie?
Jimmy, what's up, man? We took a week off last week from the show, doing some traveling and whatnot. We've had some events. Congrats on the championship again in Arizona, national best drinking team for is that the 10th year in a row now?
Yeah, we set a record for the 10th year in a row this year. So our guys were very proud of that.
Good.
Really enjoyed our time, by the way. But before we get into kind of the weekend and everything, I want to throw a shout out. Obviously, thank you to the Beacon Tap for sponsoring our show, 1374 in Des Plaines. Basically, I wanted just to share that they got a tremendous weekend ahead this weekend with St. Patty's Day. I know Mr. Tommy Reamer's got a bunch of stuff going on over with the Beacon Tap. So if you guys got nothing planned, get out there. I know they got Irish dancers, I believe, on Saturday. So that's always entertaining to watch. So big fun-filled weekend out there in Des Plaines. So, but I wanted to start the show tonight a little bit in regards to the news that I heard yesterday. Somebody in the softball community that was a tremendous impact, had a tremendous impact, not only on the mecca of 16-inch softball, which is the Forest Park tournament, Mr. Dave Novak and his family. I want to give all the condolences to them. Dave obviously passed away, I believe, over the weekend. And so just want to make sure we take a minute to give our condolences to him and his family. And, it's never great to hear that type of news. So,
yep, I agree. And I never got the chance to meet Dave, but he's affected a lot of the folks around me. And, that stuff's never easy to hear. And, the family and everything, hope everybody's doing okay. So, Jimmy, nice message there. And we appreciate everything Dave did with the Village of Forest Park and kind of making it great and paving the way for us to play at the best fields in 16-inch softball. So, definitely taking a nice moment there for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, that being said, we actually have a packed weekend here. So, or packed night, I should say, not weekend. We had a packed, fun, full weekend. As you can imagine, I'm still a little tired from the weekend.
Sure.
But everything else was fantastic. I think we landed Thursday. We had pretty cold weather on Thursday out in Arizona. Then from there, it started to heat up as the weekend went on. We had, I think Al had 14 teams in the tournament, which is probably one of the more fun-filled weekends that he's had for the charity tournament for toys. I know that every team donated toys. They had an incredible, outpour of toys and all sorts of stuff. He also does a golf outing the next day, which was tremendous. The feedback I heard from that. So once again, obviously March went down there, took home the tournament. They came with pretty much a team that would win probably every major tournament here in Illinois for a charity tournament. But hey, that's what they like to do. So more power to them.
I saw the rosters for that squad. They came pretty heavy. They came pretty loaded to I think High Y has made the championship a couple of years in a row now, correct? I think the third year in a row that High Y's gotten to the championship game to play that March team. So, I mean, that March team's stacked. That's a good group of guys right there.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, for the weekend that it is,
Yeah.
That's how they have their fun, and so God bless them. But at the same time, it is a charity tournament, so we try to get out there to have a good time and a lot of fun, and I think everyone does that. So
Yeah, that's good. As long as you guys have fun. I mean, it's kind of cool to be out there 3 in a row. March beat Hawaii 3 years in a row, which Richie says. So, Richie, I know you play on the March team, so congrats on that victory and bringing home another piece of hardware back to Chicago in an out-of-state tournament, which is awesome. Um, we appreciate you guys for tuning into the feed. We did a little stream of the Hawaii game, and then Menudo. So they got to be featured on the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show, and we got some really nice feedback from that stream. We actually did it from 2 remote locations, which
yeah,
is pretty cool. So we kind of broke a barrier there that I was able to do a stream from another state while you were in a different state. So it was nice to be able to kind of, like I said, break that barrier and show off some good technology that we've got going forward.
yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. We once we got the hang of stuff and the technology was working in our favor,
Yeah.
I thought everything ran pretty well. I didn't have a tripod, obviously. I
Yeah.
left it at home, but the next time we do something like that, I will definitely have a tripod, make it a little easier on myself. But all in all, I thought everything went well. I mean, and out of the 4 games at the time that we live streamed, that was the best of the 4 games. It was a 4-1 finish, one to
Yeah.
one in the 6th inning. So by far an awesome time, and congrats to that team too that hung in there with Hawaii. We had some good interviews with them. It was nice for them to kind of jump on the stream. The pitcher was
Yeah.
incredibly funny. You
Yeah. He
know,
was yapping the whole time.
we called him the
It was
tall,
great.
so it was definitely a
I
huge
love that.
a huge uh, a huge fun time with them. So
Yeah.
I believe Junior hopped on the feed too as well. Gave us some feedback on where they were from and what they were about. So pretty cool things for sure. So
Pretty cool. Pretty cool comment from Ron Kubicki. That's 6 in a row that March has won, and each and every time we win, we donate all the winnings back to the charity. So that's great. That's great to see. I know that Richie mentioned that 6 championships in a row for that March team, and for them to donate it back is awesome. Like you said, it's a charity event.
yeah.
Just going out there and kind of having some fun. But that's very kind and cool of Ron and that squad.
So before we get into who our guest is tonight, I just want to say hi to some of the people in the feed.
Yep.
We have my nephew Pete out there. Brian Haas is out there. Richie Rizzo, by the way, I was able to film the last bags. He was in a intense bags game, and I was able to get him. It was like 1919 for the longest time. It was the longest 1919 bags game I've seen probably ever playing. Literally took them 10 minutes to finish, but that was incredible. Hips on as well. So welcome to the feed, Richie Battistoni. I know you talked about Mr. Dave Butterfield, who does a lot of our internet flyers. Welcome. Monique Abbott, welcome to the feed. Ron Kubicki, welcome. Big Mick in the house. Matt Mackey's in the house. Mr. Eric Panic, Mr. Stretch. I spent the weekend with Mr. Stretch. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun drinks and entertainment together. So that was a very fun-filled weekend with my nephews. We had Enrique.
I like that everyone is your nephew.
Yeah, Don Cahoon, Kevin Johnson, Marty, Julian Russell, Phil McHugh. We got a lot of people joining the feed, so definitely want to say welcome. Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. But let's get into our guest tonight. And I know later on in the show tonight, I have some special news that I want to share, but we're going to wait to the end to share that. But let's talk about our guest tonight, because I think our guest is probably one of the funniest guys in softball. He's definitely small, so he's going to hear some small jokes, but at the same time, he was always been a competitor. He sits on the Hall of Fame board. He's played for many tremendous teams over the years. I know that you don't know Jeremy Lofrano very well.
I met him a few times. I actually got a chance to kind of talk to him for a little bit this fall in Oak Lawn. We played against his team, and a very kind of a chippy, fun guy to be around. And It was fun to like get to know him a little bit more, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as the show goes on. Our team, I think beat them pretty good, but our Oak Lawn team in the fall is pretty loaded. So nothing against him. He pitched, so we won't bring that up in the interview. I won't talk about that at all. But he did let me get a few hits. I will say that.
Okay.
So yeah.
So we could definitely rub that in a little bit, right?
For sure. But I'm happy to have him on. I want to say before we jump into it, Jim, he's always supportive of our show and comments on a lot of our streams, and he kind of promotes us pretty well, and we appreciate him for that.
Yeah, no, he definitely does do a tremendous job of helping us promote and get people out there. I know, over the course of the week, he's obviously shared our page with a lot of his friends to bring him on tonight. So he's done a great job with that. And before I bring him on, I want to he's also a Hall of Fame board member, and I think it's important tonight for the people to kind of listen in to really what he has to say about not necessarily the qualifications about how you get your name on the ballot, but how the voting is done, right? And the percentages and how that's looked at, because the previous 5 or 4 shows, we've had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer on our show. And we've been predominantly in that 16-inch world, right? That's what we've been talking about a ton. I know we have some people scheduled from the 12-inch world later on down the road, so we don't want to think that we're forgetting about them. We're not. I know their season's also kicked off, but the best thing about tonight is really just kind of recapping everything that we've done over the last 3 to 4 weeks and tying it all into one. And I think Jeremy tonight's going to do a really good job of that. And I think it's going to be a nice opportunity for a lot of our audience that's going to watch this either live tonight or tomorrow morning in their cars or throughout the course of the week to really understand what that Hall of Fame pitcher is, because I really don't think people understand it.
No. Yeah, I was going to say that it's a great point that you make, that we're kind of tying everything together for, what we've done so far. We had 5 Hall of Fame potential inductees on at once. Now it's time to kind of tie the things together. So that's a really good point you make, Jim.
Yeah. So I hope our boy Jeremy Lofrano is ready. I see him that he's in the break room. Looks like he's having a bottle of vodka as we speak. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Jeremy Lofrano. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jeremy Lofrano. How are you, sir?
What do you got there? What are we drinking?
I'm good. How are you? Water.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Is he on there, Jim? You got him okay?
Yeah, I got him. He froze on me.
Am I delaying?
You're just a little bit behind. You seem to be kind of going in and out on us, Jeremy. If you want to, should be fine.
Let me try.
Looks okay now.
Yeah, you sound fine now, Jeremy. So, yeah, you sound okay. I mean, I don't know. Let's see if we can hear you clear.
I think it's the first time you ever told me to talk, Jim. I'm losing it.
Yeah, it seems like you're a little blobby.
Let me see if I
You want to hop back?
can get on. Let me try the cell phone.
Okay.
I was getting service prior.
Yeah. Are you in your basement? Are you in your basement?
Right now,
All right, we're gonna get him off really quick. We'll bring him on in a second as he's figuring it out.
Yeah, maybe he'll just jump on the phone quick, and it's weird. It's uncomfortable. I mean, it's new for a lot of folks. So
he had no problem last night. I gave him the pre-trial run. He had no problem at all. So in the meantime, we've just had a ton more people jump on the feed.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We had Steve Majerus, welcome. Tom Toe, welcome. Mr. Ecke, welcome. Ace Rogers, Keith Stone, Preston, welcome to the show. Mr. John Doss from Forest Park. So let's try this again with Jeremy. So I want to try to bring Jeremy back. How we doing, Jeremy?
I hear you. I'm pretty good. Let me try to turn this off now.
There you go.
We live?
You're live, man. How are things, Jeremy?
But Donnie, I just want to start. You flew out twice against me. I don't remember these guys you're talking about.
We won't comment on that anymore, Jerry. We'll leave it at that.
Right, the right fielder made 2 good plays.
Hold on. Well, you cut in out a little bit. Say that. Hold on. Say that again. You're cutting in and out just a little bit.
Okay, all right.
He's on that T-Mobile.
He's got the Boost Mobile connection right now.
I know. Jeremy, maybe you should completely out and come back in because you're breaking up tremendously. So, and that's okay.
Fine now.
There we go. All right. So he's getting out.
Take that other one.
Hopefully he can figure it out because I think he's going to be a very entertaining guest. I know he's got a lot of stuff to say. We've got a lot of questions for Jeremy.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, as he figures it out, why don't we talk a little bit about the next game for Signature and Hex?
Correct. We have something on the schedule.
Yeah, we got to get that on play. But let's talk about the next, what is going to be the next bet?
That's a great question. So we play Thursday the 20th. Okay. Now, I've had this idea before, Jim, and Jeremy texted us saying he's good now, but has yet to jump back on the stream. But I would like to see what the fans want to see. So what I'm going to do after the show's over, Jim, I'm going to make a poll on our page. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to let people kind of type in and give their ideas as to what we can do for the next bet. If that's okay. I want to see what, let's see what the people want. I mean, I know you'd love to do another TikTok dance. My dance has 15,000 views. I want to put that out there.
I love it.
We're at 15,000 views on my post. So
I love it.
Tough to beat.
The people from China are loving you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, TikTok might get shut down, so I'm going to lose some of those views.
That's okay. Let me see. Let's try to get Jeremy back on now. Mr. Lofrano, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Better?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. He's in.
There he is. So you were saying Donnie flew out twice. He didn't get hit.
He actually hit probably 2 of his best balls, and the right fielder made nice catches on him.
I don't remember that. I remember both those falling for doubles is what I remember.
Donnie doubles.
Donnie doubles. Gotta love it. So Jeremy, we first off want to say thank you for joining us tonight, taking time out of your schedule. I know you're a busy man. I know you work in a union. You have a bar on the side. You do a lot of things. You have a newborn kid, baby girl. So thank you for taking time out. But I think tonight we have a lot of questions for you. I know, obviously, you've played softball for 20 plus years. You've been you're currently a Hall of Fame on the board. So we have a lot of questions about your playing time and the board. But before we even get into any of that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeremy, for those people that might not know who you are, or people that are following from, outside of the state of 16 in softball and want to know a little bit about Jeremy.
Really quick, Jim, you want to move Jeremy into the middle? Make him the main view for this show. There we go.
Donnie, I love the way you think.
You got it. I've got to put the most attractive person right in the middle of the screen.
We're in trouble. I started when I was 15 years old with my dad, my uncles. And a lot of you guys know my uncle, Frank, was a Hall of Fame softball player. And when I was 17, he started bringing me around, teams he was playing with, Pugliese and Bucks. And I got introduced to the game at a whole new level. I mean, it was, I wasn't ready for, I was a pinch runner, but I got to learn the game from the best, from, Berger, Filkins, my uncle, Jimmy Matlock. I mean, this team was just loaded. Junior McCarthy, I know you guys had him on a few weeks ago. Just a loaded team, and it was just a lot of fun watching and learning, It's like being a rookie quarterback, watching, learning the game before you're just thrown into it. And it definitely helped me a lot, watching these guys go about their business. And then I actually played a little college football. I loved it so much. I stayed 5 years in college, and once I got out of college, I hooked up with some of my friends, and then it was just guns a blazing. It was work, softball, go out, drink, do it all over again.
Now
I love the game.
you mentioned college. I know you weren't the water boy. You were a whiteout, right?
No, I was. Yeah, I was slap back and return kicks.
Oh, nice.
Where did you play? What
That's
school?
kind of, I can't remember shit. University of St. Francis.
Okay.
How many
Thanks, man.
concussions, Jer?
So we talked about this one. My one buddy thinks I'm a pothead because he's like, dude, how do you not remember what I just told you? I'm like, I don't, never did a drug in my life, but you know what, Jimmy? They say when you get those dots that's a concussion, and I would almost get them every game. You see dots, and the coaches back then, they used to tell you, are you hurt or are you injured? And if you tell them, coach, my head hurts, it was a different area.
Right.
Get back out there.
Right. Well, they just didn't know, right? They didn't know.
Yeah, no, and I don't blame them. I'm not, but
Yeah.
I used to be like, that, rub some dirt on it, get back in there, and I, kind of played softball with that same recklessness. I remember hitting the fence in Marshalltown the one time. I had no clue where the fuck I was the next two innings.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. For sure. It's, I know I was you and I have played together for many years, but
Yeah.
talk about some of the teams that you played for before we get into the Hall of Fame talk and kind of
So
talk together.
I started, like I said, I started with the Pugliese and Bucks when I was 17, 18. I think I was 19 years old. Berger left and went to the Bats with Sal Milazzo. And he took me with him, and he told me, okay, kid, now it's time for you to start playing. And I got a lot of playing time there. Met some awesome guys on that team. And then the next year, Jinx asked me, and my grandfather used to go to all of Frankie's games. And at the time, Bobby Galosa, who's on the Hall of Fame ballot this year, he was coaching, and my grandpa always raved about him. He just would say, So to me, it was like getting to the Jinx was like I made it. Like that was my goal playing, and hooking up with Benny and Shane Lawler, Batnich. It was just perfect time, and like I said, but now I couldn't imagine not playing with those guys. It was just a great time. Played with them for I don't even know how many years. They kind of started going different ways. So then I left. I played with the 45s for a few years. And we did a team called How You Doing? How You Doing?
How you doing?
Yeah. We played one that was a one and done, I think because of the uniforms. Then I went, who did I go to after that? Back to Jinx, I think maybe, or OBI.
There's that CTE kicking in right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's so funny because Donnie, when I say the Jinx, like there was a few teams like Entourage, and I think I played one year with the Binge, but I was always with my Jinx guys, so 90% of the time I couldn't even tell you what the name of the shirt I was wearing was.
It was
it was a lot of the same guys.
It was just, where are my friends playing? Okay, that's where I'm going. So it wasn't even like hesitation. And then as I got older, obviously your skills diminish a little bit, so they don't need you anymore. So they kind of toss you to the side. And I started playing with, Timmy Kornikowski called me. I played with him with OBI and Feta.
Yeah.
Then did another stint with 45s, and then finished up with Flash.
So before I hand it over to Donnie, there's a name that you mentioned out of your little spiel there in regards to your career, Mr. Steve Batnich. So
Boy,
Donnie, Steve Batnich and Jeremy, they want to do a dance duel off between with us two and them.
yes.
So
Done.
I
Done.
think I think it'll be probably one of the most funniest things ever in softball history. While we're on Steve Batnich, because I know you love Steve Batnich, Jeremy, as I do as well.
Yeah.
You give me a little, I guess you want to say, a Batnich line or a little foreplay of what Batnich used to look like pitching, because I know you reenact him very well.
Uh,
For the audience, are you able to, on the spot, give us a
I,
Batnich pitching mound with his pants up and everything
my,
like that?
my mom might be watching. I don't know if I could do it a full, a full Batnich. All I got to say is, I think we all know Steve's probably the best pitcher I ever played with.
Oh yeah.
He's unreal. And when he wants to play, there's nobody better. I mean, his wingspan's 7 foot. He we just got to buy him like a belt for his pants so he doesn't have to pull them up all the time when he plays.
I,
But
I know my guy. I know my guy Stretch does a pretty funny video of that.
yeah, he does a really good. He does a really good one.
He does it. He does it really good. So, but Donnie,
Yeah.
go right ahead with your first question for Mr.
Jeremy,
Jeremy.
you've played with a lot of really good teams, and like you said, I really admire that you play with a lot of similar guys on like different team names, and I think that that doesn't really translate into softball a whole lot. I mean, it's a lot of people play with their friends in the parks, but other than that, on the major teams, it's whatever group of guys is going to give them the best chance to win. How did you find success with that certain group of guys, and how did it kind of translate from team to team as you kept on playing with these guys? What was it that made this group of guys so good?
It was just a trust factor. I think those guys knew I was going to give 100% anytime, every time, and I knew, but it was so easy playing next to guys that you like and that you care for, and that I used to always tell, guys next to me in the outfield, I promise you'll hear me, I'm going to be loud. I used to tell guys all the time, it's got to be you. And they would, Jerry, I had no shot at that. I'm like, I'm just letting you know, I couldn't catch it. I'm just letting you know, I got no shot. So if that ball's going to be caught, it's got to be you. And you just build a bond with these guys, and it's like you want to slide into second and get dirty. You want to go first to third for a guy. Guy hits a grunt, you want to take out the short center and not hit into it for a double play. It's different, but it's also I don't know. It's just the way I was raised and brought up. Like you just play hard and to play with guys you love is even it's like a bonus. I was lucky.
Yeah.
I got to play with my friends, and yeah, hopefully they would say I was a better player than teammate, but
Yeah, I think they would. It just kind of ties me into my first question and kind of something we went over. But who's kind of someone you always wanted to play with that you may have never gotten the chance to through those groups? Who's the name?
we always said 1 year I didn't want to play with Jinx because they were having Mr. Senior Russ was going to coach, and I'll never forget. I called Jeff Berger and said, "Yeah, I'm not playing with Jinx. I'm coming with you guys." And Shane called me up and told me, you gotta play with this guy. My Uncle Frank called me and said, "You know what, Jer, you got to give this guy a shot." So I played with Senior, and it was probably the best experience of my life. If I could ever go back and play with, he would be one guy I would love to play with. But I was lucky, man. I got to play with. So I used to always say Ralphie Lawrence. I always wanted to play with Ralphie, and I got to do that. Guys like Duff, I got to play in a tournament with Duff. But yeah, I mean, growing up, because of my uncle, I played with so many Hall of Famers that I was, I can't even, so one guy that I would always wanted to play in my prime outfield with was Joey Caputo. I always respected and loved the way Joey was a natural left fielder, and I think my best position was center. I would always rotate wherever they needed me. I would play, but I would have loved to play, one game or 1 year with Joey, because I think that would have been a hell of a fucking outfield.
Yeah, Joey's a gamer. I mean, now he's kind of
Oh,
transitioned into the pitcher role for Circus. Him and Jack. I mean, fantastic.
yeah,
He's a fantastic person, and he's a hard nosed softball player and truly a gamer.
yeah. If he's half the pitcher he was outfield, he'll be one of the best pitchers in no time.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Jimmy,
Yeah,
what do you got?
yeah, no, for sure. And Joey Caputo is a name that we've been hearing a lot on our show over the last couple of weeks, about outfield play, about pitching, and so on. So you're 100% right, Jared. I've never had a chance to play with Joe either. I know that Kornikowski and some of my buddies do, and they say nothing but great things. So that's a great choice. Definitely someone that in my career, hopefully, I'll get a chance to play with before I'm done as well. So
We played in an all-star game together, but we never were in the outfield at the same time, and it sucked. I was like, "Fuck, come on, man!
yeah.
Give me an inning."
He used to always get hurt, just diving everywhere and all sorts of
Yeah,
stuff.
but honestly, Jim, I mean, you played with me long enough. That's how I played too. It was that ball was not touching the ground if I was in the area, because I would die. I mean, granted, I'd probably drop it here and there, but you give it your all. You know what I mean? That's all you could ask for.
Right.
You run 100 feet and you see a guy dive and you drop it. Well, what am I going to do?
Yeah, right, exactly. But you've also made a ton of great catches too. I know that over the years of playing together. So, well, I want to kind of spend some time, obviously about you, your opinions, and about softball. So I'm going to kind of get into some things because we've had a lot of guests from the Hall of Fame on over the last several weeks, as you know. And I know that some of our audience doesn't really understand the process.
Yeah.
How do you get on the ballot? That'll be like the first question I want to ask you. Second question about the Hall of Fame. And once you tell us about that, is really about what is the percentages? I know like 10% is fan, 15, and kind of give us the breakdown on how that looks. And then I might ask you some questions about the Hall of Fame once you're done with that as well.
Sure. So, first thing I'll say is anybody could fill out a bio. There's a bio online. You fill it out. It's very specific, very to the point. And only thing I can say is fill it out. You got to fill it out right. So we get so many. I don't know how Ron and Paul do it. They get so many applications, and it's pretty easy. Just fill it out right. Just go line by line. If you don't know, put not answer it, not available, or but you really do got to fill the bio out right instead of just writing Hall of Fame, right? I hit 600 my career, but it's like, yeah, okay, next. But as far as percentage goes, so yeah, 10% is all of the online mail-in voting, all that counts as 10%. Then what they do is all the Hall of Famers that are in the Hall right now, vote, they like everybody else, and they get, I believe they're 15%.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you're judged among your peers. Then what they do is it's a committee, and it's like by era. They have like a coaches committee, or I'm on the current. I think it's 2000 to current, or 93 to current, whatever the years are. And then there's the 80s and Pioneer. So there's different committees. Now those committees count up as 35% of the vote. Then once everything is tallied up, we have a meeting. And I'll tell you what, you want to see some passionate softball people, you should see these meetings, because it's you don't realize what goes into it. And it's awesome to see, because it's really 16 guys that are just passionate. They this guy should be, and then you get, this guy's in, why ain't this guy, blah, blah, blah. But But so that whole group, the whole committee that's who's on the board is 40%. And then that obviously equals your 100%. That's how they do it. And they tally up. You have to get a certain percentage of, I believe it's 74% to get in then to the hall.
Here's
Okay.
a random question I just thought of. Since you've
6.5
kind of been a member,
inches.
yeah, thank you. That's all I wanted to ask. No, here's since you've been on, since you've been on the board, um, is there someone that's been like unanimous 100%, not even a conversation about that person? Like, is there someone that comes to your head?
He's gonna kill me for this. There's one person that was gonna be 100% unanimous, and I turned his bio in because I knew he was a sure lock to get into the Hall of Fame. I didn't even vote for him to get in. I gotta put my vote to somebody else, and that was Mark Holstein. That was
Okay.
Holstein. Yeah, he threw like nobody's ever seen. It was 10s across the board for him, and
Okay.
it was I mean, but well, I'll let you guys ask some questions. I won't go into
All right.
anymore.
Yeah. So, we talk about the Hall of Fame, and you mentioned the process, and you mentioned all the things that go into it. What is something the Hall of Fame could probably do differently to improve maybe the individuals who get into the Hall of Fame? Or is there a process that, just your opinion, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what is something that, you know what? And maybe Paul Rowan's out there listening. I saw Paul Rowan, John Bond. But either way, like, what, just in your opinion, not necessarily something that Hall of Fame, but what do you think can help improve that? Because that's always a question I love to hear about. Hey, we're doing a fantastic job. We're doing an awesome job at everything that we do, but there's always something we can do better, right? And that's in everything in life. That's in business. That's in personal life. That's everything that we do. So, Jeremy, I'm going to hand that over to you. What's your opinion on that?
Put me in. It would make it so much better. um, no,
Someone got to knock
so,
you first, though, right?
so I'll be honest. So what people don't realize is when we do the voting, it's a ranking, and it goes you vote this guy 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then when we compute these numbers, obviously however many 10s you get, how many 7s, how many 8, so on down the line, that's how we get to this 74%.
Right.
What I don't like about it is, Jimmy, let's say me, you, and Donnie are on the ballot, and you're a 10, Donnie, you're a 9, and I'm an 8. Well, now we're ranking, the players. That shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a rank. Me personally, I think it should be: are you a Hall of Famer or not?
Right.
I'm not asking you to put to rank these guys. And example I give all the time is I think it was Randy Russ, Keith Filkins, Berger, Ricky Gankars, and Bobby Rush Jr. Now I ask you, which one of them is not a Hall of Famer?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So now you took a guy, and the guy who got screwed that year was Bobby Rush Jr. And a few of the guys will sit there and they'll be like, well, big deal, he'll get in next year. Well, it is kind of a big deal, and to me, tomorrow's never promised to anybody. I don't think
That's a good question. That's a good point.
yeah, if you're a Hall of Famer, man, put the guy in. Let's not. Well, he's got to be a first ballot, or he's got to be. Who gives a shit? If he's a Hall of Famer, put him in. And what ended up happening was Senior passed away, waiting for the next year. Bobby got in, and his dad wasn't there. And to me, that's just an example of let's fix the system now. Let's because
Right.
that's a memory that they'll never get, and it's so stupid because everybody knows Junior was a Hall of Famer. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we can't put in 6 this year. We could only put in 4. We could only put in 3. To me, if you got 9 guys that are Hall of Famers, 9 guys go in that year. You
Right.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
I look at all these guys that are Hall of Famers, and I think the '80s have something like almost 90 guys from the '80s in the Hall of Fame. And my biggest thing when I first got on was it's got to be harder to get on this ballot. You know, that was what I wanted. I wanted, I wanted longevity to be a part. I think you got to be an elite player. You know, when I think of Hall of Famer, you got to be an elite hitter or an elite fielder. You know, Jim, you come up the bat, you say, fuck, I don't want to hit it to that guy. You know, okay,
Right.
that guy's probably a Hall of Famer. You're in the field, he comes up, and you're thinking to yourself, shit, I don't want to walk him. You know,
Yeah. Right.
to me, that's a Hall of Famer. You know,
Yeah.
and with guys, I don't want to say it as a knock, but it still is a recreational sport, guys. You know, it's a game we all love and we're all passionate about it. And that's what I love about the board is, I mean, you want to talk about guys that are passionate. They fight tooth and nail and it gets ugly. And I always tell them, whatever I say, you could tell anybody. I don't care. Well, like if I think you're all, it's just my opinion. I get one vote, right? So what, I'm so,
Yeah.
but I think if he just did a yes and no, instead of this, 10, 9, 8 ranking them, because just because your career is better, that doesn't mean you're a Hall of Famer and I'm not. It just means you know,
Right. Right.
you're
No, no, I mean that's a great point. And Ron Kabicki just said that Junior was a first ballot inductee, but either way, your example makes a lot of sense. To your point, like
oh, he's
Ryan,
gonna yell. I'm gonna get yelled at by Ron. Oh shit.
that's all right.
Watching.
He'll get over it, right? So,
Yeah, Ronnie's good.
but
I tell you what, Ronnie does a lot for being retired. He still does a lot for the Hall of Fame, and here's a guy that's been around before I was born. So
right,
I mean, he still knows all the guys, and knows the game, and he's passionate. And I'll never say anything about the guy's passion.
oh yeah,
I could disagree with everybody in the room. That doesn't mean I hate you or I'm mad at you. It just means that's my opinion. Either you could say shut the hell up, Jerry, or you could say okay, point. And honestly, that's what Paul does so well. Paul will sit there and say, "Yep, okay, you made your point. Moving on to the next." You know,
right, right,
and that's all you want. You just want to be heard. You're one voice.
absolutely, and that's
Yeah.
part of what softball's about today, right? I mean, trying to get the player's voice heard more and more is why one of the reasons why we started what we're doing over the last 3 to 4 months and really promoting the game too. It's just really to make the change to make the game better, and to your point, Jerry, is you look at the Hall of Fame and who knows, maybe it's structured phenomenal and the way it is, it's awesome, but but there's always things that you could do differently to change, and so you look at every major sport, as I always say, all these major sports are making changes to their game. There's no reason why we can't make a change to our game to improve what we do. So uh, to your point, I want to get to the chat really quick. I got some questions coming in here. Um, he said Westemeyer was shafted that year. He waited to the next year to get in.
Oh, it
He
was Westermeyer. Okay, yeah. My point being is, yeah, there was, there's always guys getting shafted, and
yeah,
you hear sometimes, like, oh, well, then they'll get in next year or that, but, you know, I, I just, to me, it's these guys played, these guys got bloody, these guys played and injured. They put a lot of time and effort into this game. And I think for me to tell you, not this year, next year, that's hard for me, as a board member, because it's like, man, yeah, I agree with you, but I'm only one voice. I think, yeah, I do think you should be in, but but this is how they do it. And there's been talk about changing things. One of the talks we had, it was changing the venue or changing something to try to get the price down because it's $175 a ticket. and that kills us. We say, man, you bring your wife and two kids, and you're going to pay $700. But these are things that we're discussing, and we're really are trying to make it more affordable and a better experience. I don't know if you guys have ever been to it, but I mean it's top notch.
Oh
It
yeah,
really is.
no,
It's
we were
it's
there
open
when
bar,
Jinx.
it's steak dinner. It's a great event, and I highly recommend guys getting out there and just checking it out once. It's pretty cool. It kind of um humbles you a little bit.
Absolutely. No, I know I've been to it a couple times. Well, I've been to it with you, Jared, when we got Jinx indicted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that was one night we were there. I don't know, Donnie, have you been to the Hall of Fame dinner yet? If not, you'll be there next year.
Yeah, I've not. I know they invited us out to kind of be there, and especially next year when somebody that we had on our show gets in. So we'll definitely be in full support of those guys. But definitely a bucket list item for me in softball is to get out there and be at that dinner, and hopefully for somebody that I know really well or myself, and obviously in the future. But yeah, I look forward to being a part of that dinner.
Perfect. So really quick, I just want to get to the chat because we've had a ton of people jump on, jump off, jump on. Uh, Don Goose Flanagan, welcome. Russ the Lude says, Donnie, you're over there wearing everything down, yelling from your wife. Russ is saying you're getting yelled at from your wife in the background. Love it. Randy Nelson, Paul Rowan, as I mentioned, Tyler Single, welcome. Ralphie Lawrence, welcome. Brady Fisher from Iowa, welcome. Cindy, Mr. Steve Batnage is on the feed, welcome. Eric Stretch, Jeff Paws, Chris Downs. A lot of big names out here, guys, in the softball world, as you can imagine. Steve Rodriguez, Pops Alejandro, our guy Vern, Sean Quinn, Mr. Jeff Hernandez, George Ramirez, Mr. Johnny from the Hall of Fame himself, Mr. Broadcast, as I call him, and Bobby. So welcome everyone, guys, to the show. Jeremy, I have a lot of more questions for you.
Shoot, fire
So
away.
I'm gonna start firing away at you a little bit, and I'm gonna get back into softball as a whole. And what I mean by that is you've kind of like retired a little bit from the major softball. I know you still play softball in the parks and
Yeah.
things around the house, as we talked about yesterday. But when you looked at when you played in your day and age, when you were a starting center fielder every single game, to what it is today, what do you see the difference really is in the game?
One easiest is commitment. I mean, when I played it, there was nowhere else to be. It was I'm playing at Wentworth and probably playing 6 innings, have to leave after that at bat or that bottom of the half, and driving out to Mount Prospect for another game. You don't even hear stuff like that anymore. But that's okay. The game the game's changing. The players are changing. That commitment isn't there like it is, and I would love to see the SSA kind of try, some of those ideas that you were talking about with let's do maybe one day tournaments. Me personally, I think there should be only 2 tournaments all year. They're a double elimination. It should be Forest Park, no glove nationals, and nationals. The,
Yep.
the rest, you could get your team out there on a Saturday, but play 5 games and be done. But this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with you guys don't want to do that anymore. Just because you did it back when in the 80s and 90s doesn't mean it's okay to do now.
Right.
Play in one tournament or one league. You don't need to
Right.
play in 2 leagues. They guys got to get at bats. They got to. All I hear is all these guys got to get more at bats and more hitting. I think Forest Park last year the final game was 1-0. So I'm like, how many at bats do you need? Yeah, like I don't get it. Adapt to these kids. They want to go play in the parks. Let them play in the parks. 2 nights a week. But when it's game time, whatever days you guys play, 1 day a week, all right, they're going to be there and they're going to be there ready to play, give you that.
Yeah.
But it's just more of a drain now. The
So
drives suck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a lot of great points. I think it's stuff that we've said over and over and over again about, but, I want to touch in a little bit on one thing you said, which is the, 2 tournaments a year being double elimination. I don't know if you've watched previous shows, but on previous shows, I went to an SSA board meeting recently, and let's face it, I mean, they run 16 in softball now from an organization standpoint, right? So
Yeah.
all the major
And they,
teams.
and they do a great job. I'm not saying they don't. They do a great job. You got a lot of guys on the SSA that put a lot of time and effort. But here's my problem is they're not listening. Listen to your product. The SSA started because they were sick of ASA. They weren't happy with something, so they changed it. Well, you got so many kids right now saying, I'm not happy playing in 2 leagues. I'm not happy playing 4-day tournaments. I'm not happy with it. And it sounds like they kind of refuse to listen. They kind of are doing, they don't see it, but they kind of are doing what the ASA did to them. It's just stubbornness.
Right, right.
Mm.
You make a lot of. I really can't say it any better than what you said it, but you mentioned like the kids of today. I know you play in a lot of the parks and you play a
Yeah.
lot of younger kids. Is that kind of what you're hearing out in the
Yeah.
field? I mean, I don't get the chance to play at Kennedy Park in Mount Greenwood anymore like I did in my younger days. I mean, I
Yeah.
pretty much only play major ball now.
Right.
So is that kind of what you're hearing out there too?
That's Jimmy, I can't tell you how many guys will tell you know I don't want to play major anymore because then I could play in Papa Hops and not be counted as a major player, and
Right.
it's not one guy, it's not two. I'm talking
A lot.
level guys that, hey, you want to come out and play, you want to come out and play in Forest Park. Back in the day, you were like, yeah, I want to come out there and play. I want. That's where I want to be. Now it's, no, I'll stay with my friends, and that way I won't risk being a major player for Papa Hops. And that's changed the game, man. And guys, you can't sit here and tell me that a Papa Hops team wouldn't be as competitive as some of these major teams.
Yeah,
Right.
there's some really
You
good teams out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Really good
you've
teams.
been out there, you've seen it, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable softball, and
No,
it's
no,
a great.
it's a great point you make. There's a lot of kids my age that don't play on major teams simply for that reason. And I have a
Yeah,
conversation with them like, where are you playing this year? And they go, I'm cool with playing Papa Hops, and they're
yeah,
some of the best players that could be in softball. I mean,
it,
it's
that's
definitely changed. The mentality's changed.
Well,
and, and
you know what's funny about that is that when you look at Papa Hops, it kind of flips it, right? Because all the major players are trying to get on teams to play in the tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Where
The major teams are begging. They're begging the neighborhood. The major players are begging the neighborhood teams, hey, can I come play with you? Nah, we
I mean,
got enough guys.
I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie, I've been one of them. I've landed on a team in the last 4 or 5 years,
Yeah,
but up until that point, like you're trying to get on a Papa Hops team because you want to go out there and enjoy the day, and it's a 1 day
absolutely.
event.
It's and they do it right. I mean, they got stuff for kids. They got,
Yeah.
with a pot. You could bring your cooler. They got beer tents. They got, people playing in a concert. It's an awesome event. I mean, it really is. The Hopkins, they do it so well, and I think this year, I believe, is the 10th year anniversary, and to win that tournament to me was it's pretty cool. It's pretty,
Right.
And I wanted to tell Richie, every team that wins a charity tournament donates the money back. So stop patting your back there, buddy.
You would think most do, but you'd be amazed.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right, Jim.
But yeah, we talk about Papa Hops and we talk about the 1 day events. I just find it funny that a lot of and we talk about maybe more and more as we go on and on and on. With the 1-day events, you also could have more tournaments, you know, and that's what people don't understand. Like
Now
it's,
you're thinking, Jim.
you know, like, yeah, you're not playing 4 days, but now you're playing 1 day. And okay, if you lose, whatever, there might be a tournament the next weekend or the weekend after. And if you look at those schedules, I mean, dude, there's something every weekend.
So we're doing this is actually pretty cool. We're doing a like a Legends Hall of Fame tournament. It's Frankie Meone, Brian Panic, and Bobby McClellan.
Okay.
All three have passed away from cancer, and their kids are going to run a tournament, and it's going to be a draw. We're gonna you throw your name in the hat, and you're going to pick or draft, I should say, not a draw.
Yeah.
They're going to do a draft tournament, and we went through days of when we could do it, Jim, and it's like we're going to have to pick a day, and someone's going to be pissed off at us, because it's like, oh, we got, Melrose that tournament, or we got, whatever, Bud Billiken tournament. I'm like, well, shit, when the hell do you want us, to do it?
Mhm.
You don't want to step on toes, but at the same time, you still want to have the tournament, right? So
Yeah, it
we
makes
haven't
it
picked a
really
date
tough.
out yet, but that's something we're going to do this year, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Going to probably do it at Mount Greenwood, and just
Awesome.
celebrate, three unbelievable softball players and three unbelievable men. I got the luxury of playing with all three, and one's classier than the next. That'll be an emotional day for sure.
Absolutely. And
Very cool.
that's a very cool thought. I mean, you mentioned dates. I know one date that comes to mind is usually, any date in September is usually good, or any date in the middle of August, so
That's what.
uh,
Yeah, we were looking to do August 3rd, and we were all set with it, and then someone, it's Melrose, and I'm like, wow, shit, the last thing I need is get bitched at by 4 SSA members of,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you did it on the next day, I think they're only a 1-day tournament, but the next day is actually Hamlin, which means a lot of the North Side guys.
They're,
I don't know if
they're,
they would play it or not, but
yeah, yeah. No, it's never easy, Jim, running tournaments. It's never easy.
no,
Everybody's got the right. Everyone's and me and Tyler have talked about this. Everybody has a solution, but nobody, wants to put it to use. But
right,
try it, man. That's what I just said. I'm like, try, these Westchester, North South, they don't need to be 4-day
Mhm.
tournaments. Double
right.
elimination,
So,
one
so we
day
had
hanging out.
I want to read this comment. By the way, Jackson Perry's joined. Mike Darty's joined. Dave Padilla's joined. Jack Harron's joined. Roberto Jr. says, spot on. All the young guys just want to stick around and play with their buddies. And it leaves us to ultimatum where we want to move up and play, but we don't have to be restricted and not have to play with our younger friends and other teams in different leagues. So I totally get what he's saying. Like, you're spot
Yeah,
on about everything. It makes a ton of sense. I think when you look at it from the standpoint of making the major game better, there has to be something that can be done to get more talented young guys to play. I mean, when Donnie, who's on the screen, is one of the young
Hi.
guys playing major softball today, Jeremy, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. But everyone remembers that I got 2 hits off Jeremy in Oakland Fall League.
I got you.
Okay, good. I just want to bring that up again, just in case anybody forgot.
Oh yeah,
Cheated, man. You wear batting gloves.
No, I didn't. I didn't that night. I didn't.
No?
No,
Did you?
you're
Oh, okay.
the wrong
That's
guy.
why you got your 2 hits. See? Now you know. Now you know not to
You
wear
got the
batting
wrong
gloves.
guy, man. I appreciate
No,
the
you don't.
answers, and we're doing the show on social media a lot, and it kind of ties me to one of my questions, and we're talking about kind of the younger generation and how tied to social media everybody is. I mean, everybody's on Facebook and everybody's on everything, and we post
Yeah.
dances on TikTok, which is going to be taken away from us shortly. How does social media, in your opinion, I see you on social media a lot. You still comment a lot, and you speak your opinions on social media a lot. How does social media, how has it changed softball in your opinion?
Well, again, like social media has changed our lives, and I think there's so much good from it, but if there's one thing we can learn from it, there's also, um, the streaming, the stuff Geo does, it's awesome, great for the game. But I think it would be so much better to start streaming neighborhood leagues. You know, people are narcissistic. They love watching themselves on TV or love watching themselves play. It's just true. Everybody does. So why not go, spotlight a game, in Kennedy Park, Wentworth Park, up north, do stuff like that. I think would help tremendously, but um, and show that softball's not dying. Softball, I mean, there's so many people playing. It's just, I just hate saying it. I feel like the majors. What is it? 5 teams now? I don't even know how many. You got 5 teams, and now one team in Iowa, right? I heard they're
I
combined.
would say there's probly 8 or 9 major teams.
Okay, yeah. So but you know what I mean, Jim. That's you have a major tournament. Who are you letting it in? How do you have a 30-team major tournament?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so one, get away from these major leagues and if 45s is your team, then you know what, you could be able to play in whatever league you can. But um, I just I don't know, man. They won't listen. They think you got to play in 2 leagues and you gotta play in Forest Park and Melrose. Otherwise,
So you're
I'm like,
saying,
well, that sounds like an ASA that said you used to have to play in qualifiers every weekend.
yeah, that's
I remember those days.
Yeah,
we can do. Something we can do, Jim, is try and do our streams out at different parks. I think that would be great.
yeah,
Obviously, I'm going out to those parks and playing all the time. So,
yep,
I'll definitely do a stream or do a couple games out from those fields and try to give people some recognition. Like you said, people like in a good way. People are narcissistic. They
yeah.
want
No,
to
and
show
I didn't.
play.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. I
No,
didn't
I
mean it in
know.
a bad
Good
way. But
effect.
guys, Jimmy, you remember when you first started playing league games were just as hyped up as
Yeah,
tournaments. I mean,
Yeah.
oh shit, we got we got 45s today, or we got Windy City. Okay, let's go. We gotta
Yeah.
get pumped up. Let's sober up. But not
Oh,
now.
he's right.
Now I see these 45s play flash. Both teams are looking in the parking lot. Who's going to be here? Who are we
yeah,
missing? And that's major softball. That's
Yep.
that's where the games change, and it shows you half the time some of these guys are playing somewhere else and don't want to come there. So it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean, Kennedy Park. A lot of those guys stay at Kennedy and don't drive out to Melrose.
what would you? I mean, I don't want to rat the kid out, but I will. Danny Dispenza, would he walk across the street and go play and get 4 swings, or would he drive an hour and a half and sit in traffic and uh, to get 4 swings?
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
No, I mean, I agree with you, and obviously Flash allows him to do that and still
mhm.
plays it. So,
And they know that. I'm not throwing him under, but they know he
right,
ain't coming on Tuesday, Thursdays. He plays in Kennedy.
You can
right.
throw Danny under the bus. Danny takes it pretty well.
And Danny's good. He's like my little brother. I love that kid.
He's great.
He's a big, right, Donnie. He's a big.
He's fantastic.
So go ahead, Donnie.
Something we asked before the show is to potentially bring on a jersey that you love. Have kind of something near and dear to your heart. A jersey that you played in or was a team that you were on. Now's
Yeah.
your time to show off what you brought to the show.
So you know what, Donnie? I went through an old closet that had my shirts, and I didn't bring one. I have like a little collage of them. So
That's cool.
bear with me. Let me
The
go
more the
grab this.
merrier. The more the merrier. That's okay. I know we had a
Maybe
Sharif Walker.
maybe he'll give us a Steve Batnins. Oh, look at this. He's got his whole closet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the first team I played on was Pugliese and Bucks. So
Okay.
that was our logo. Somebody
Cool.
once said it was Jono's body with Jimmy Matlock's face.
It kind of does look like Matlock. I was like, that's pretty good.
So after this is old. I know Sarah will love this one. This is an old Bats.
That's
Oh
cool.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
them.
that was Carrie Limousine. I think he's had 4 other places since then.
Oh yeah, and he's moving on
One
to his 5th.
one of my favorite. This was our Park League team. This is the bust out.
Oh yeah.
So this was this this jersey's kind of sentimental to me. This was the first time that I ever beat my Uncle Frank's team.
Oh okay.
He was playing with Tommy Balick, Illusion, out in Wentworth, and they were loaded. I think their outfield was Matlock, Frankie, and Larry Downs in a
Oh yeah.
park league.
That's a pretty good outfield.
Yeah, not too bad. So this was old school, but this is the 45s.
Cool.
What makes this one special is see the I don't know if you can see the little 6.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was for Eggs Zarnik. When he passed, they put the little 6 in there, and
Nice.
yeah,
That's cool.
Eggs was close. So Jimmy, I think you would agree, maybe, I hope, but I think the best logo in all of softball,
Oh, the Jinx. Oh
the
yeah.
Jake, the black cat on the ball.
Oh yeah.
And I know Richie said they won 6 years in a row. My engineers team won 9. Not 9 in a row.
The Union
The
tournament you guys won?
trades tournament.
The trades
But
tournament?
the jersey that's probably my favorite, my by far, I shouldn't even say probably, without a doubt, is a shirt we did for Forest Park one year. Um, this was my guy Cy.
And we had a
And,
hat too for, remember?
yeah, we did. And what I love about this one, I actually got 2 jerseys this year. I had the number 1, but in the game I wore, is it 83, because that was his age when he passed away, and that
Cool.
was yeah, that was Donnie. I don't know if you ever heard stories, but Cy he was like my grandfather. Him and my grandpa used to watch games all the time together. But
That
he,
was
he
great.
oh man, he got thrown out of more parks than we did. He would come out the umps.
Oh, yeah.
He was the best. But
It was
Like
nuts.
that.
yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame too. He's a Hall of Famer. So
Oh,
cheers to my guy Cy.
We
yeah. Cheers, my man.
we got
Salute.
that's amazing. I love that. I love the jersey that kind of pay homage to the that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah,
The
it
45
was
jersey with
really
a little symbol for eggs. That's really cool and super unique. Bobby Ronald says you're amazing in the outfield and you're amazing at folding clothes. That you're incredible.
He thinks I folded him. He's out of it. He's out of his mind.
You made yourself look very, very well done when you put those down.
Oh, yeah.
Nick McKinney said you got to work part time at Old Navy. People are more interested in the way you folded the jerseys than the actual jerseys themselves.
Yeah, I didn't even realize they did that.
Yeah, very talented, Jared.
Shit, now my fiance is gonna know I can fold clothes.
Oh no. You're on laundry duty starting tomorrow.
Yeah, shit.
So I actually do a rapid fire with all of our guests, and what we call it is our top 10. So, Jer, I don't think you know any of these. Well, you know all the names, but I don't think you know the order that I put the names in.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a name, and I just want you to tell me a sentence or two about the individual, whether it's good or bad or funny or whatever. I mean, we're looking for funny, of course, right? We're looking for,
Okay.
but I mean, just tell us how you feel in regards to each of these individuals. So, some of these names have been brought up already on the show, but I'm going to go ahead and get the list started. So, the first name is someone you've already brought up, number 10, and that's Mark Holstein.
Horny.
What do you
Say
think?
Wait, say.
I said horny. No, Marky's. A lot of people don't know. Marky and I were very, very close. I stood up Mark's wedding,
Right.
and I've seen power hitters, Willie Simpson, Jack Kelly, guys, that when I was a kid, I would just like be in awe. And when Marky was in his prime before he tore his bicep, he hit the ball like nobody I ever seen. He was he was a difference maker when he would come up to bat, and he's a great friend and great teammate, and he's good people, man. I love that kid.
Awesome. Number 9, Sixer, Denny Lawler.
Denny. What do I think of with Denny? All of
Where do you
definitely,
start?
yeah, Hall of Famer. You know, I don't think Denny gets enough credit with how good he was in the outfield, and then when he got older, how good he was in the infield, and then always just hit. Denny was stone hitter, and a lot of fun to be with, especially outside of softball. Denny's a great. I always say, Denny's a good person. He's even better human being, and lucky to have him as a friend.
Number 8, your Uncle Frankie Minoni.
The best. That's my goat. I don't want to go too much in. I'll get emotional, but Frankie brought me in, and so cool. It's like his friends that Jeff Berger and Wilkins and these guys that kind of took me in because I was they had that much respect for Frank. They ended up respecting me, and now I consider these guys my friends.
Right.
And yeah, Frankie, I could I think he was one of the best hitters and the best fielder. So I mean, to me, that's a rare breed.
Oh yeah, for sure, and not only that, but a great dude. So
Yeah, one of the fun. You think I'm, and what's weird is he's probably my most normal uncle. I don't know if you ever met his brother Wolf. He's
nuts.
Berger used to tell me all the time, your Uncle Frank ain't right. And I would ask him, did you ever meet my Uncle Wolf? And he said, well, yeah, no, he's not all there.
Good days, man.
Yeah.
Number 7. This is a name that I had to go deep in the bag for.
Oh
A
boy.
lot of our viewers probably don't know the name, but you'll know the name right away, Jeremy, and that's Mr. Dave Tenza.
Dave Tenza. The hammer. The original hammer.
The original.
Dave was Dave. I always got along good with Dave.
I knew I would get you on that one.
Yeah, I always got along good with Dave. He was a character, man. He would call roster checks on you. He would he just wanted to win, that guy would throw his mom under a bus to win a game. So he was one of the best. My favorite tapes. Did you ever see that video of him when he's going off on the public speaker?
The politician?
Yeah. Hey, man, that's what he does to a politician. Can you imagine what he did to an umpire?
Oh,
It was awesome.
Dude.
Dave Tenza. That's a good one.
Number 6, senior Bobby Russ.
So I think I touched on this a little bit earlier. When he was going to take over to Jinx, I didn't want to be a part of it. Because I would be playing and he would be coaching third with Lettuce and Licorice and just he got under my skin. I'm like, God, this guy, how is this old prick, getting under my skin like this? He's not even playing. I used to pride myself on not getting rattled. And this guy would just, and I'm like, who is this guy? And I ended up playing with them, and not only was it the best year I ever had, he probably is the best coach, and I was lucky. I had Rasha, I had Stan Paddock, Ronnie Kabicki, Sal Lazo, John Doss, God, I forget, Cam and Balick. I had some great coaches, but I think my best year ever was probably the year I played with senior, and I wept like a baby when he passed because he was a great man. He was. Here's a perfect story. Sorry if I'm taking too long, but
No, take your time.
so back to one of the guys that you said I never got to play with was Randy Russ too. I used to always hated him, hated playing against him, but that just means I respected him that much because he was that good. And that, to me, that's the ultimate compliment. You know, when you hate some guy because of no reason, just that he's good at softball, it's like, fuck, and that guy's pretty damn good. So we're playing, and we're chirping back and forth at nationals out in Marshalltown, and I'm chirping, you know, and he's chirping back, I'm chirping, you know, and Randy's, you know, fuck you, you know, giving me the business, but it popped out, and senior pulls me aside and says, "Hey, what are you saying to my kid?" And I'm like, "Ah, fuck, I'm gonna get yelled at, you know, like I'm fucking with this kid." And he says, "Well, I think you're in his head a little bit. Keep going, keep doing it, you know." Okay, you know, like, he didn't care. He wanted to win, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out too well for us. They still beat us, and I think Randy was all American, or you know, I'm like, God damn. But no, he's another guy I always would love to have played with, and hated playing against. But you know, senior was a different cut, man. He was good people.
No,
You
for
either
sure.
loved them or hated them. And like I said, I hated them, and then I got to know him, and there was nobody better.
I can't agree more. Number 5, Shane Lawler. I know this one's close to you.
My brother, that's that. Yeah, he's that's my number one, man. Shane has done more for me and my family than my own brother, you know. And people always ask, you know, who's your favorite teammate? And I never say his name. And it's not because I don't think he's a great teammate. It's because I don't think of him as a teammate, you know. I think that's my family, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's the real deal. I always say, if you have a problem with Shane Lawler, you're probably the asshole in that conversation. You know, he's
Right.
back. The shit he does that people don't know about, and I'm not gonna, you know, that's not his style. I'm not gonna
Yep.
go into, but he does so much for those neighborhoods that his bars are in. And I always tell people, I challenge you this: look at one of those shirts with all the sponsors on it.
Mhm.
Every single shirt you'll see Lawler's Bar, and it's just. And Jimmy, you know, you've owned a bar, like you can't write off that much. You could only write off so much. And I'm like,
Yep.
at one point, I'd be like, Shane, you know, when do you say no? And he just is. That's just who he is, man. He's the best. He's great people. Blessed
Right.
that I love this game because of guys like him that you meet, you know, and you develop that friendship with, and it's yeah, it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
I
No,
love that.
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
you've
That's
known
a great.
Shane, yeah, he's just, and what you see is what you get, man. He's not phony. He just tells you how it is, and
yeah.
hates confrontation.
Absolutely. I know Shane Moore probably on like a business level than a friendship level.
Yeah,
Usually when him and I talk, it's usually about business. Like, how's your bar?
but and there you go, though. He'll help anybody out any way he can. You know,
Yeah,
if you want to pick his brain, he'll help. You know, he'll help you. He'll do. He just, yeah, he's
for
good
sure.
people, man.
Absolutely. So number 4, you'll get a kick out of this one. This old fuck is basically somebody that I look up to. Somebody who's been a part of all of our Jinx teams, who's currently on our Hex team, who helps us coach out, and that's Tommy Balick.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Pass.
I
No.
asked.
Dog hair.
He don't. He
Balick.
probably doesn't have Facebook anyway. So he,
Balick is. I was so happy for him when he got into the Hall of Fame, because he was a lifer, man. And he's, like I said, he still is around the game. You know, he he's a great person. Um, I don't. He was towards the end of his career when I started, so but he was just a lot of fun to be around. That energy. You know, I don't know how a guy, you know, that old, and it just always had that energy. And the trick when he would grab you, it hurt. I'm like, God damn, stop grabbing. You know, he hit you with those 3 jabs, and it's like,
he still has that handshake now. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
it's like, Tom, why
Tom,
do you got to squeeze me so hard, dude? I'm not.
Tommy's good people. You know, I won't say the names, but I won't even tell the story. Never mind.
Remember, your mom's watching.
Yeah, exactly. She loves Balick, so.
So, fucking Tommy Balick makes me laugh. So every week we do a top three.
Mhm.
Usually when I get to the top three, I stop right there. Donnie, go to the comments really fast before I get to the top three. See what if we have any comments or anyone who's joined the feed, why don't you say hello to them?
Yeah, Nick McKinney said Shane has also some of the best hair in softball.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a luxurious head of hair. Some people would pay for that much. Shane supports softball. Tom Balick, Dave Padilla mentioned a date a little bit earlier in the comments for the Legends tournament. I believe it was the 20. My comments aren't going back that far, Jim. Sorry.
28th of September, I saw.
20th of September. Perfect. So that could be something you guys can do. I know he commented that a little
Good.
while ago, but
yeah. Good.
so yeah, Dave's got some availability for you on that date. But yeah, we want to give a shout out to the guys that are watching. We appreciate all the support for the show, especially Beacon Tap sponsoring us, and we thank you guys as we kind of get down into the top three here.
Yeah, so Jeremy, before I get into the top three, we always want to talk about Beacon Tap, Mr. Tommy Reamer. Have you been to Beacon Tap before?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you remember any of the nights in the Beacon Tap?
I remember going to get my car the next day.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, he's always been great supporter of the game, and that he's helping you guys out too. And anything that promotes the game is awesome. And when you get sponsors like that to help out, I mean that's what it's about, you know. I always say softball is a fraternity, and at the end of the day, you know, it's so minute in the big grand scheme of life, but the people you meet and the networks you make, and you know, I almost wish I had this attitude when I was in my 20s playing, because probably would have went a lot farther in my career. But
you still had a great career, and I mean, you're still playing locally and stuff. So
yeah.
But you know, we talk about bars, we talk about stuff, and Donnie, we've talked about dancing and things earlier. So I have to bring this up because this is probably, I don't know what Jeremy and I were there for. We were in Marshalltown.
Oh boy.
We were playing. I think it was probably a major national, Jerry. We were playing out there.
Yeah. That was the year we got double. That was the year we got double dipped. Thanks, Jim.
I think it was whatever. But I go to the bathroom, Donnie, and as I'm in the bathroom, you know, I'm taking a piss, whatever, and I hear all this ruckus in the bar, and it's like, what the? I mean, I just walked out of the room, and it was completely quiet. I come back in. This guy's doing a dance battle on top of a table with some local, okay? And I'm like, and dude, he is moving. Like, people are holding tables because we thinking the tables are going to collapse. And I'm standing next to Batnage, and we were dying laughing. Jeremy, I wanted to ask you, you got to do a dance video for us, my man, because when you get going.
So there's a backstory to that. Probably about 5 years ago, I think we were in Cedar Rapids, and Michael Jackson came on, and I was kind of like against the bar, just kind of, and this guy came up and started doing his dance, and it just, I froze. I was like, you know. So yeah, 5 years later, I see him in the bar, and I'm like, there he is. I'm like, go to the jukebox, play the music, and let's go right now, band. Dance off. Yeah. There's still some pictures of that night floating around.
I bet there is.
I was drinking I had a beer can. This is how big of a hillbilly I am. I had a beer can and a beer bottle, drinking it on the floor.
Unbelievable.
Good times,
I need to see the photos. I need to see the photos of that.
You know what's funny, Don? And somebody once told me this a long time ago, and it's, this game, it goes by so fast, and you don't remember the wins, the losses, the outs, the drops, you remember those memories you make, with the guys afterwards and that bond, I'll always say, like, what year was that? Oh, that was the year we were all getting drunk in so-and-so's room. I'm like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
I don't remember who won, who did that, but I remember, the stories and the memories, and that's what the game's about. And that's, I think, if people take a step back and think about it, that's really what it should try to get more of, that
Oh yeah.
I love
play
that.
play with the guys you like, not the guys that are going to help you win.
Sure. I love that.
So I'm gonna get back to our top 10. We're on number 3. So number 3 is kind of a standard on our show. I know Donnie's already smiling. He already knows the name. Number 3 is Gio.
I gotta get sued. Um, Gio is I have no problem. Like, I have no problem with Gio.
Yeah, nobody
Gio,
does.
yeah, Gio's very opinionated, and so am I. So,
Right.
he don't like to hear what I'm going to say, but he wants to tell me his opinion. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned if I'm going to listen to you and you not listen to me. So,
Right.
I think I've always had a mutual respect for him. As I remember he played for Mudville. I think everyone knows he played for Mudville. He played for Bucketheads, and I used to tell him, Gio, when it takes you longer to dress for the game than it does to play the game, it's time to probably hang him up. Like, he's taping stuff that I didn't even know. I was like, dude, that's what are we taping? I know hockey players that don't tape that much, but he does a lot. He does a lot for the game.
He does.
And I almost want to tell him, I know your heart's in the right spot. Here's what irks me about Gio is when he didn't get Hall of Fame president, he didn't win. He kept all the codes, the passwords for
Yeah.
all of our social media. He kept everything and wouldn't give them to him. And to me, that kind of shows your character. To hold
Yeah.
something like that high. So now it's not about softball. Now it's about you. And to me, I don't got time for people like that. I just go on to the next. So I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I just, if that's, you're going to be your character, I try to just keep people like that, at a
Right.
distance.
Yeah. No, sometimes people make decisions in life that they kind of look back at 5, 10 years later and they're like, man, I shouldn't have did that. Right. And we've all had those moments. So, that being said, maybe he will look back and say, I probably should have did that. But,
Yeah.
uh,
Hey, and all they would have to say is, hey, Paul, I'm sorry, not even Paul, because I know he won't even talk to Paul. But it's, it's that arrogance, it's that stubbornness, it's that, this is my bat, my ball, I'm going to do it my way. That's what kind of turns people off,
yeah.
from softball. It's like, well, I
And he
don't have
could,
to I could go anywhere and play.
right. Exactly. So, no, that makes a lot of sense. So I appreciate that. Number 2, Mr. Big Cam.
Uh,
Number 2.
miss my guy Cam. Cam was he was larger than life. Cam was one of the funniest guys. I've been out drinking with him where he takes his eye out and puts it on his wallet, and he'll tell the bartender, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. I got an eye on my wallet.
Or I've seen him do it for his beer too. Keep an
Oh
eye on my.
yeah, he put it in his CC and 7.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
would put it in it. Here's here's a great Cam story. We we lose to a team that we probably shouldn't have, and this is in the Westchester tournament years ago. And Cam, after the game wants to talk, and I'm not having it. I'm pissed off. We lost. I walk to my car, and he starts telling, where are you going? Are you quitting? I said, I'm not. I've never quit in my life. I'm not quitting, Cam. Get back here. I ignored him. I get all the way to my car, and you know where Westchester is from the fields.
Yeah.
All I hear is, you cunt. I get in my car, I'm driving, and I don't know, might have called Steve or somebody on the team, and I'm like, did he just call me what I think he did? And he's like, oh yeah, it's all Parker. And so the next day, I show up and I thought you quit. I'm like, damn, I never quit. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to hear the rah rah story. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
pissed. I'm pissed. But that's who he was, man. He was passionate, knew the game, loved the game, and strong as an ox. That's why we
Oh,
used to call him Ox, man. He was,
strong, boy.
yeah, gone too soon. Definitely miss him.
Oh yeah, I miss him too. So, number one, we brought up a lot on the show. This is when I think of you, I think of him, and I think of him, I think of you.
Boy,
This is your boy, your main man, Steve.
Nate Mercado.
Steve.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Steve Batnich. Where do I begin? I love Steve. Steve is a lot of fun to be around, especially when we were younger. He was so good, but he used to piss me off when I would always want to play left field because I couldn't see around him. He would step back and I'd be like trying to look around again, what are you doing out there,
Steve, I can't
But
see.
man, he was. It sucked. We talk about guys that we played with, and guys you hated playing against, and I hated playing against Iowa teams. Hated it, but always respected them. But it just playing against Steve and Shane were probably the hardest for me, and just because one, it sucks hitting off Steve,
Yeah.
but he's such a good. What people don't realize, he's such a good teammate. He really is. He's a better hitter than people give him credit for one. And he's not like me. He's very unselfish. Steve, we had Steve and Moji on the team for a few years, and you talk about two guys that were probably both in their prime, both two of the best pitchers, and they would pitch, no, you're pitching better, you go. No, you're better against this team, you go. And it kind of, yeah, it really did show me, like, this, it's not about me or, winning an All-American or it's about putting the team first. And him and Moji were unbelievable that year, and just the ultimate team players. And yes, I still think people, I've never seen Tallow play, and I heard he's unreal. I did see Eggs. I seen Patty Caputo, Dave Bischoff, all phenomenal. If I'm taking the first pick and I had to pick a pitcher, I'm taking Steve every time, because that was my ride or die. He was that good, that just controlled the game, man, and funny as fuck.
So Kip says, what's up, you hillbilly? I do remember that dance off from Iowa. So
Yeah.
he's put in the chat out there, which is pretty
Well, tell
funny.
them we're even now, 1-1. I gotta make it to Iowa one more now. We gotta have a rubber match.
Evidence that all went down as well. Jimmy tends to tell crazy stories, and people are confirming that these are true.
Yeah. I wish a lot, Donnie. I wish a lot of these stories I would tell you were made up, but they're.
No, this makes you who you are. This is your
That's
character.
it. That's
When
it,
I-
man.
When I tell so many stories and you have so much detail, people look at you like, you can't make this up. How do you
No.
make this up? I'm like, dude, I lived it.
Jimmy, were you at Lawler's the one night? One of the Iowa guys was telling me it was one of the fun. It reminded me, Donnie, of you the other night. I was dancing and I like kicked. I forgot. I think I had sandals on, but I like kicked and like did like a little Michael Jackson move, and my shoe went up flying, and it came right down and hit this guy in the head. Drinking a beer. He was like, he looked up, was like, "What the?" I was like,
Dude, a lot of those nights are blurs, but it's incredible. So at this part of the show, I ask Donnie, do you have any other questions for Jeremy?
That's it, man. Jeremy.
So I ask the last question all the time. And
Okay.
the last question is basically kind of some of the things we've talked about a little bit. But what that question is like, if you were to change one thing today to make softball better, what would it be? I know you mentioned the single elimination tournaments, but is there any other thing that comes to mind that you would think would make it better for us today?
Yeah, we mentioned the single. I think just listen. You got a great product. With softball. Listen to your audience. Listen to your clients. We're
Right.
all we all have suggestions, and to not listen and try out things or do what does it hurt? Try one tournament. Um, try. I think that the two tournament or the two leagues a year for these major teams, I think is wasting these kids' time. I think you'll find a lot more people playing if you just did one league.
Yeah.
I think
So,
and I think you'll see a spike in the competitiveness. Like these guys will play harder that one day a week because they don't got 3-4 more games coming up that week. They could go and have fun with their friends, and it's almost like it's like a vacation.
so Sal Milazzo many years ago tried to do the Super League. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
One league, kind of make it like the MLB format, right? Uh, I mean, I don't know with Forest Park and Westchester or Forest Park and Melrose now if that would ever happen. But to your point, guys like myself, I don't really play many park leagues anymore. I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I do make every Hex game, and most of the times we play 2 times a week, and then we usually play on the weekends, depending on, there's always something going on tournament wise. So to your point, you get your swings, you get out there, you do your things, but I'd be curious to see if it would ever be a consideration. I don't know how that would ever work out amongst park district money and vice versa, but I'm assuming if you combine the leagues and you make it like a north and a home field and everything else, like kind of what Sal was talking about in the future, that would be pretty cool too.
Well, and Jim, here's one thing I would change. So, you look at look at our country for right now. You got Democrats over here, Republicans over here. You got ASA over here, you got SSA over here. How are we ever going to make headway when we can't get these two associations to talk and just have maybe go back to one or split things up or just sit down and have a conversation of how we could all make softball better.
Right.
And until the two sides are willing to sit there and talk, now it just becomes a dick measuring contest. My league's better than yours, or my association's better than yours. Well, okay, but is that better for the game? And I don't think it is. It's
Right.
let's make the game better and let's work together. You got two smart guys, at the head of these associations. I'm sure they can figure out, you know, what's wrong, what's working for you. Oh yeah, well this isn't working for me. So
Right.
to not even have dialogue. One is childish. Two is frustrating as a player because it's like, hey man, I thought you want to have what's in the player's best interest, but it sounds like you're just doing what's in your best interest or the associations. So that would be one of my um, things that I wish they would just everyone get on the same page. Um, who's right, who's wrong, who cares? Let's just make this game better. Let's get out. Like I said, let's get out and let's stream. More neighborhood games. Let's
Yep.
um, more one day tournaments is huge. That's it. Make it more family friendly too, if you can. Do get a jumper out there for the kids. I know you do that. I think Jim, at your Danish
Yep.
Strong, don't you? I
Yep.
mean,
We've had it many years.
yeah, that's
We have a
that.
park there, so it makes it really easy. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, we definitely have done that and tried it. And unfortunately, it seems like every year when I do get the jump house, it's 95 degrees and multi humid. So
yeah.
none of the
So
win it, but
no one wants it. Yeah, yeah.
having the park and everything else right there, though, it does allow them to have a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, look at like Forest Park, they got that water slide and stuff, but I mean, I
Yep.
remember kids used to be in that all the time, you know. I don't ever see, you know,
Well, I think
yeah,
Forest Park has made it only Forest Park residents though for a while now.
okay. I got it. Well, let's maybe, you know, okay, let's associations talk to the park district and say, hey, if we're playing in, you know, softball
Yeah,
league, can our kids use that? You know, I mean,
right.
this is the stuff that all it takes is a phone call, you know.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
just,
So Chris Downs just says, "Speak the truth, Jeremy.
oh
Tell
boy.
tell them all, brother." So
I'll tell
uh,
you what, man, he's another guy loved playing with Chris. Chris was, you want to talk about piss and vinegar, man. That kid was intense, hell of a ball player. And, you know, me and Chris used to always laugh. He had Larry and I had Uncle Frank, and we were like, well, guys would be like, well, you're not as good as your brother, or you're not as good as your uncle. And we'd be like, well, no shit, neither are you, you know. But Chris could go get it with the best of them, man. He
oh
was a
yeah,
lot of fun to play with.
oh yeah, for sure, 100%. So uh, at this point of the show, my man, we hand it over to you in regards to if you have any questions for Donnie or I, or anything you want to get our opinions on in regards to whatever it is, shoot away.
Um, yeah. So where do you guys think with the dome? What's your like? Are you guys trying to do like what Rosemont had out there, or are you guys going to try to do
Like from a league standpoint, you
in
mean?
league standpoint? Yeah, like in the winter time, you know.
I tried this year, like when they found out that Rosemont was done, I tried to put
Mhm.
a together out there. I just didn't have the interest. I just didn't think people understood. Now that more people have driven out, I've been running single elimination tournaments.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh, nice.
and like every Friday nights, we'll do like an overnighter to like 2, 3 in the morning. And I think more and more people now are familiar with it. And I
Hmm.
think if I were to run a league next year, which I would love to do, I think people would come, especially when the bar's open too. I'm almost done completing that project. When that bar does get open, it will be, I think, a lot easier draw next year for us
Yeah,
to have those leagues, and I can literally use every single night if I wanted to. I know I've had interest from some of the B teams. I've had interest from some of the A teams. So I would like to, run like a major league with 8 teams, and I would like to run like a BA team, a BA with 8 teams, and maybe you have, 2 leagues of 8, and if you get more than that, then we do 3 leagues of 8. So, uh, realistically, I think that's the best thing, and we can use the 9 to 10 to 11 o'clock slots like we would in Rosemont. We're not changing that.
Mhm.
But if I know ahead of time over the course of the summer that we're going to do something like that in the winter, I can get some earlier time slots. It's just that we're going to have to. That's where where we make a lot of our money in the peak time. So
yeah,
it, it does make it difficult, but 9, 10, and 11, I can make it a lot more affordable for teams, and it makes it a little easier on us at the Dome and for the pocketbooks of the teams.
yeah,
So
yeah. No,
Like,
absolutely. Well,
well,
and Donnie, you're younger. You're starting to come up and play, and especially playing with the pro teams. What do you think? Do you think 2 leagues is you got to play in 2 leagues at the major level, or would you
I'm
rather be
different.
playing out in Oaklawn with your
I'm different.
friends? And
I want to play as much as I can.
yeah,
It's weird. I feel I'm different in terms. I would rather play in 2 different leagues with signature because that's how I think I'm going to get better as a softball player, playing against the
sure,
best teams. Is it fun to go and play with your buddies in the week? Yes, and I'll do that too, but I'll work around that. I do think the park leagues are an escape from that too. So less serious games. You obviously want to win, but it's more so going out and having fun with the buddies. And then once you are playing at Melrose and Forest Park, it's a different level of softball. It's a different commitment level, which I've gotten. We talk about all the time that it's changing, but I think the park leagues are meant for one thing, and I'm all for 2 leagues with the best team possible. Just because, like I said, I want to get better. I want to play against the 45s, and I want to play against Flash and Hex and all these guys. And, for me, it's a stepping stone to become a better softball player. And then I can look really good in the park leagues. That's my biggest goal, right? I mean, that's why I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I see. Is Forest Park and Melrose, is it all the same teams or is there different teams in there?
There's a few different teams. I know BTA isn't in Melrose. I don't believe High Y is in Melrose either. And then last year we had teams like the Snappers were in, as the Snappers were in Melrose Park or not in Forest Park. Moneyline is not in Forest Park, I believe. So you've got some of the best teams not in the Forest Park League anymore. And then there's teams like Pharaohs that are in Forest Park only. So, Circus, who's in Forest Park only, because they want to play just one night a week. Dynasty, one night a week. Those guys are trying their best to play with the teams their park league teams too. So I know that Dynasty has been one of the less committed teams to tournaments. They don't play in a whole lot, but to still see those guys and play against them at Forest Park, it's good to see those guys.
So as Donnie was talking, Jeremy, it made me think of something. You mentioned about park leagues, Kennedy Park, Mount Greenwood. Would there be a way to possibly create a all-star team out of Kennedy Park and play like the all-star team of the major game?
Well, yes and no. So you got like Kennedy Park you got guys that you hate, like against on other teams. It's not guys don't really, it's not you play in a team and you're like, hey, what's up, buddy? How are you? What's going on? It's like, hey, fuck that guy, they hang out over at it's kind of like old school. And that's why I think it's doing as well as it is because it's mostly the same guys on the same team. You don't see guys jumping around from team to team to team and playing with it. It's kind of like, this is our team. That's their enemy. Let's go play. So it would be funny to see, and I'm just thinking of a few guys at the top of my head, would be on the same team. I don't know how that would work out. They'd be fighting each other, but it's an awesome idea. I mean, I think that would be, really cool. But that, all-star teams, Jimmy, I think too, is always kind of tough because it's it becomes popularity contest.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking like Papa Hops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you get like every team has 2 major players out there per se, whether they're an actual major player or they just play on a major team.
Right.
There's some rules behind that, but
and that's the difference too, man. I try to talk to the guys in that run Papa Hops about well, this guy, he came out to pinch run, blah blah blah, but there's guys like Penza that'll push the envelope and change the rules, bend it, tweak it, do what you got to do, and they're firm on that. They're 2 guys. That's it. Where did you play last year? Oh, Forest Park. Sorry, you're major.
Yeah.
And I can't. Hey, whatever they're doing is working. So who the hell am I to tell them anything?
Yeah. Right. No, I get it. So it just threw my mind. I just thought about it, but
yeah, no. Yeah, in theory, that would be. I mean, that'd be awesome. I think anytime you could get great players on the softball field playing against great players, sign me up.
Yeah.
I wish. Did they do the Iowa versus Illinois anymore?
They did it not last year, the year before. I'm sure they'll bring it back this year because
Iowa only has 1 team, don't they?
No, they got like
They're
gonna have Chalk's Hall of Fame supporter.
Yeah, that's gonna be a loaded team.
Oh yeah, good luck. Glad I'm done. I don't have to run those fucking balls down anymore. Those big ones hit bombs.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
And you know what? It's fun. It's so funny because I hated them. Hated the Iowa guys. It's just because the era I grew up with. And then you meet Whitey, you meet a few other of these guys, Timmy Walker and Cracky. And it's just like, man, these guys are
Yeah.
pretty good. Here's one last funny story. We were in Iowa bar, old timers, the one time, and for years it was Jinx and Stovers, Jinx and Monsoon. We always had great battles. It was whether we were Entourage or Jinx, whatever, but we'd have great battles with this team. And the one year we're playing, and Stovers lose early. They lost, I think, like early Saturday. And Sunday, we just got double dipped, and I'm feeling no pain at the bar, drinking, and obviously a little pissed off. And one of the girls from Stovers, and they used to heckle the shit out of me. Holy cow! I thought I got heckled playing football. One of the girls on Stovers was yelling, you should be a jockey, not a baseball player. The laugh I got out of the batter's box. I'm like, who said it? That's funny. But I'll never forget, she had a Stover shirt on, and she walked up to the bar, and I got out of the way, and I said, "Oh, Stovers." I'm like, "Did you guys play A-ball this year? I didn't see you out there at all." And I thought I was about to get my ass kicked by an Iowa woman. She was like, and actually Cracky grabbed her. She's like, "Hey," he's like, he's just kidding. He's like, "We dish it out. We could take it." And I was like, I was laughing. Like, hey, I'm only kidding. I ended up buying her, I think, a drink. Let me rephrase that. I think Shane ended up buying her a round of drinks.
Don't worry about him. He's just my little friend.
Yeah. He's not all there. But you know what? And like that's the best part about it is after the game, talking to these guys and hanging out with them, they're awesome. They're most of them are good people, but when you play, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to, help you up, or, I want to slide. I want to win, and I want to, celebrate.
No, yeah, no, I can't agree more, man. That's that's one of the best parts about softball that I think is missed more than ever. People just don't talk about it enough. They understand it, but they just don't bring that up. And I'm glad you bring up those moments and some of the funny times we've had. And
Yeah,
that's awesome. But
that's what it's about, brother.
anything else that you want to ask?
No, man. You guys got a great thing going. I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think you guys have caught a lot of eyes and a lot of ears, and I just really hope these people in charge start listening or paying attention, because this is why you did it, to be heard. And if they're not listening, shame on them, because it's like, the ball's in your court. Here's suggestions. Here's ideas. You don't want to do it. Well, then don't sit here and tell me you're for what's best in the game. You're for what's best for either your team or what's best for your opinion of the game, not for the players. So
no, can't say it any better, my man. I know Donnie and I definitely appreciate you coming on. I know it's
for sure.
Busy schedule. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Of course.
You know what I mean, Donnie? I know, you wanted to say your goodbyes to Jeremy as well. So.
Yeah. I'm going to have to walk this kid from now on.
You better. No, man, that's great chatting with you. Like I said, before you even came on the show, we just kind of appreciate all the support that you give us, through your comments and things like that when you're watching. And it goes a long way. And I noticed that stuff, like, as soon as Jimmy said, let's get Jeremy on, I was like, absolutely. He would be great for the show. And you definitely held up your end of the bargain, man. Thanks for making us look good.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Good times. Good times.
Of course. You got it.
Yep. And putting you in the middle definitely helped us. So thank you.
100%. We're going to get skyrocket views.
All right, Jeremy. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yep. Keep doing what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
You got it.
So, what'd you think of Mr. Lofrano, sir?
Just the epitome of entertainment, isn't he?
Yeah, I know.
Great stories, but also backed it up by talking about, some great softball, like some great teams that he was a part of, paid homage to some really great guys. And that's the type of guy you want on the show. Someone that's going to badmouth some people and shoot you straight. I mean, he was wonderful at that. But that was a wonderful idea having him on. And I think we executed that really well. And he talks extremely well. So that's what you want to see.
Yeah, and I think the background on the Hall of Fame, I know we spent a good part of what we
Yeah.
discussed with him about the Hall of Fame, and I think overall, I think it's a good idea for the audience to really understand what that process looks like. So, we spelled out obviously some of the ballot people for this year that's on the ballot, and then we gave some, information behind what that actually looks like. So,
Yeah.
have the board having 40%, the people having
Yeah.
10 votes, and then the mixture of other things that go into that, I think is pretty cool to hear. So
I agree.
I think he did a good job explaining that.
Yeah, I agree, man. And he absolutely kind of brought it to light how many people are involved with someone getting into the Hall of Fame. We talked about kind of putting your own bio in, and if it's nothing good, they're going to skip right past you and try again next year. So it's not as easy as it seems to kind of get in there. I know it's a recreational sport, and it's a huge deal to be even on the ballot in the Hall of Fame. And I know, Jimmy, you'll put your own bid in when you're done playing, and I'm sure you'll get the votes. And it's a huge deal, truly.
No, it's kind of like we always talk about, like what kind of the value, like what a lot of those guys said last week, of all the time and dedication.
Yes.
So
I agree.
but it kind of validates you in some ways, right? So
Yep.
I think that's a good thing.
So
But
I was gonna ask if you wanted to drop the big news for next week's show.
So yeah. Well, really quick before I get there, I want to go ahead and say I believe my picks were 2-1.
Yeah.
We are going to continue that on Tuesday of next week. So we'll get back on that. I know this last week has been kind of a cluster with us leaving all over the place and kind of doing all sorts of stuff in regards to, everything that's been going on. You were traveling, I was traveling. So we're going to get back to our normal time next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. I think that'll be awesome. And our guest is going to be Mr. Mike North, the gentleman who is pretty famous in Chicago.
Yeah.
He obviously a radio voice, pretty much started the Score, the 670 on radio.
Yep.
It was a huge part of, the North Stars and Licorice. He had some teams during those days, during the we call it the prime days when softball was on TV and everything else. But we were excited to have him. Awesome to speak to him today about coming on the show. And I'm extremely pumped to have him on Tuesday because
Yep.
there's a lot of questions I want to ask him about those TV days, how it got started, all that good stuff. I know we've also spoke with Mr. Rich Melman. I know Rich is traveling. His business is crazy as well right now, but I hope to have him on in the future as well still. I mean, we're still trying to get him on. I know Ozzie Guillen is another one who used to come out to Clyde Park and watch 16-inch softball all the time. He's on our radar. So having Mike North on the show next week, I think, is going to validate a lot of those viewers in regards to what that actually was back in the day when he was the main announcer for the TV. Him and Steve were incredible together.
Yep.
And I think it'll be pretty awesome to see. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it'll be an honor to kind of chat with him and someone that's been in Chicago media, a very recognizable figure. Obviously had a lot to do with the White Sox, and it'll be cool. And we're excited to chat with him. And hopefully people realize that our show is growing so much. We've had softball personalities. Now we're kind of moving into a little bit bigger personalities in terms of kind of a more recognizable public figure. I think very safe to say. I mean, I know Jeremy Lofrano has a following, but Mike North is more on the national level, which is great. I know Jeremy's loved in bars in Iowa, bars in Chicago, bars wherever you're at. So, really cool to see that Mike North is jumping on the show next week.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, as I said, and I'm going to start kind of writing those questions up towards the end of the week. So
yep,
it's definitely going to be a lot of fun seeing, having those conversations with him. So, Is there anything else, Donnie, that that you have that you want to bring up before we kind of
Yeah.
let everyone
Yeah.
go?
I will. I'm going to create a poll for you guys on Facebook on our Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie page. We play it next Thursday against each other on the 20th.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna create a poll to see what the loser of that game will do after the game's over. Okay.
Perfect.
I did the TikTok dance. You did the TikTok dance. You've worn signature gear and taped it to your forehead. So, we always stick to our guns. If it's outrageous, we obviously can't do it.
The one thing I can't do though is shave my head because of the corporate world. So
Correct.
I saw that comment come up
I
earlier.
can't shave my head because I love my head of hair.
Okay.
So,
But really quick. So what I also want to bring up, since you brought that up, great point, and made me think of, I want to throw a huge thank you out to little Mickey. Mickey ran and put together our NCAA pool for the show. I don't think we brought it up at all. We're going to start collecting money starting tomorrow, and we are also going to do the number drawing on our show on Tuesday night. So it's the final 64 teams, because I know that the tournament starts per se, I guess, Tuesday night with the playing games. But our pool would start Thursday. We're going to draw the numbers Tuesday, and we're going to start collecting money starting tomorrow. So for the individuals that owe us for pools and everything else, please reach out to me and Mickey. For the 2 squares that Donnie sold, please reach out to Donnie for those 2 squares. So we appreciate that. Sorry, Donnie, I had to say that.
it's just a lot.
Yeah. But either way, huge thank you to Mick. I know it's been a huge support on that part, and has been an awesome person to work with. Him and I are, we had huge talks about putting together the 16-team park national that I want to do, or park, the league champions. I know he's got a name for it. We're going to be kind of getting some information out on that too. If that's even feasible for this year, I would love to see something like that happen. And if we were to do something like that, it probably wouldn't be to the end of the year because of all the weeks and everything that's going on. So, other than that, anything else you want to bring up?
That's it, my man. Another really nice week on the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show with you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so thank you all the supporters who supported us this week. Our next week's guest, as we said, is Mike North. We are sponsored by the Beacon Tap out of Des Plaines, Illinois. So get out there this weekend. It's St. Patty's Day weekend. Be safe and enjoy your time. So thank you, Donnie.
Sir. Talk to you, man. Thanks, guys, for jumping on the show. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.